Hello, everyone. I think we'll go ahead and get started. My name is Derek, and I'm going to be moderating the webinar today. And we're really excited for everyone to be here. Today, we're going to be speaking about the Bachelor of Applied Studies, or the BAS degree. There's a lot to talk about this degree. It's a really interesting degree for specific people. I think that once we kind of dive in and talk about its benefits and how it can help you both in your life and in your career, I really think that you'll be just as excited about it as we are, and you'll want to learn more. So let's kind of jump in and talk about what we're going to cover in this webinar. So as I mentioned, benefits of earning your bachelor's degree. There's a lot of talk out there of bachelor's degrees and you know what they can do and if they're worth getting. We're going to kind of dive into that and talk about that a little bit more. And then just kind of an overview of the Bachelor of Applied Studies degree. Just kind of what you'll learn, the outcomes, you know, why it's worth your time, how it's going to help you in your career. We'll talk about pathways and what we mean by pathways, PLA and what that means and how it can really benefit you and save you time and money. And then the support services that Clarke offers to all students. And even though this is a rebroadcast of a previous webinar, and this portion will be a recording that you'll listen to, after the recording is a live Q&A. And the recording's only, I'd say, 15 minutes, so not too long. And then Jessica, who is our enrollment coach, who specifically helps students for this degree program, she's here live and she'll be here to answer your questions. And speaking of questions, if you have any questions at all, just enter them into the Q&A at the bottom there, and we'll get to them at the end of the presentation. So without further ado, let's jump in. And as I stated, this is a recording of a previous broadcast of the webinar. So we'll start here in about 15 minutes. When it wraps up, we'll join you again and answer those questions live.
Well, hello, everyone. I'm so glad to see you guys all here today, and I'm excited to share with you more about this program. I've been working in higher ed for quite a few years now, and I have the privilege of working as an enrollment and success coach here at Clarke University, specifically for this Bachelor's of Applied Studies program. It is my job to help students from the moment they apply all the way to graduation. So I am with the students 100% of the way. And with that, I would love to jump in. Let's go ahead, Derek. Let's go started with, why would you even want to pursue a bachelor's degree in the first place? Why is this even of any importance to you? Well, on average, there are better salary opportunities available for workers that have earned a bachelor's degree. Typically, workers that have earned a bachelor's degree see about 40% more in weekly salary earnings, which is awesome, right? They also enjoy more job security. We saw in 2020 that workers that have earned a bachelor's degree roughly had about 5.5% unemployment. While their co-workers that did not have a bachelor's degree had about 7.1% unemployment. Now, what I think about both of these is that both of these could be attributed to the many job and promotional opportunities that are available once you earn your bachelor's degree. So for example, right now I'm working with a student that has a ton of work experience. She has been working in the same industry for about 15 years now. And the only thing that's standing between her and that promotion that she's been thinking of is a bachelor's degree. Good. Let's go ahead and move on. So why choose to go to Clarke, right? There's a ton of different programs, online programs out there. There's a ton and buzz and chatter about getting a bachelor's degree. So first, this is a completely online asynchronous program that values flexibility. I tell my students all the time that school is probably a priority for you, right? If you're watching this presentation today, you're probably interested in school and it's probably important to you, but it might not be your number one priority. Many of you have families, busy full-time jobs, responsibilities pulling you in every which way. So we want to support you by building a program that can set you up for success, right? Something that can help you balance work and school at the same time. And that's really the nature of this program. But we don't want you to be in school forever, right? That sounds a little bit expensive. So we value here at Clarke in providing students with options to speed up their degree if you're chomping at the bit, ready for more, or to kind of slow it down if that's kind of what the season is demanding of you. One of the distinctives of this bachelor's program is that it provides a lot of choice in choosing which courses that you're going to take, a lot of flexibility in that. And students are able to choose classes that are actually of interest to them. And one of the ways that we do that is through the pathways that I'm going to talk about here in just a little bit. But the important part of this is that students from the very beginning are able to take classes that directly impact the work that they're already doing, right? Studying things that are actually pertinent to their job, or maybe that promotion that they're thinking of, or even maybe career or industry change. This program also seeks to provide some opportunities for students to save time and money, which again, I'll jump to here in just a little bit. So let's talk about what these pathways are. So this Bachelor's of Applied Studies, like I mentioned before, provides a lot of freedom in what courses students take, right? There's a lot of choice in that. But these pathways are a group of courses that help students in building this degree plan. I like to structure this for my students and saying, this is where you want to spend the bulk of your time and your energy. This is where you kind of hone in on things. So talking about the student from before who's working towards her promotion, she's decided to do this leadership and management track. And the point with this is she's able to spend the bulk of her time focusing on developing managerial skills, leadership skills that are able to help her take steps towards that promotion. So the pathways that are currently available in this program are leadership and management, the strategic marketing and public relations, and we also have an option to customize your own pathway based on your experiences. This is a good option for students that are looking to transfer in quite a few credits. So maybe you've already spent quite a bit of time studying a specific subject area. This way you're able to kind of spend more time and again, customize your degree to what fits you best. The best part about joining a program that is still growing and developing is that you still have choices in pathways that are being created as we speak. So there's still more courses and options being added to this repertoire. Go ahead. So this is an important slide. Almost every student that I've talked to so far and our current students are in the process of applying for PLA, which is this prior learning assessment. Essentially what this is Clarke honoring the experiences that you've already had by giving you the opportunity for them to count as actual course credit. So what PLA, some examples of PLA would be, maybe you've worked in the same industry for quite a bit of time, or maybe you've held a leadership or management position for a bit of time, or say you've sought some outside training or work training, or you've achieved a certificate. All of these are great examples of different things that could apply as PLA. The process for having these experiences count for credit is very simple. And just like with everything else, you don't do it alone. So you start going through this process within your first class here at Clarke. Your professor actually has you do it as an assignment, which I think is awesome. And you're actually awarded or assigned a faculty assessor, which helps you kind of qualify which experience fits best in this portfolio. Once you complete this portfolio, Clarke then reviews your experience and helps determine which of that can count as class credit. And then you get to see the payouts, right? Which is the best part. You see almost 90% off that regular Clarke BAS tuition price. That is $50 per credit hour, which is insanity. You're not going to see anything better than that, which is just great. And it also shaves off time from your degree. And what I mean by that is the BAS degree is 124 credit hours. And by applying to have some of your past experience count as course credit, you're shaving off that credit hours at the end of that. So you're shaving off time, which all of us can agree, time is of the essence, right? We would do anything for some more time. There's also some more ways that you can actually pursue PLA, which is through our badge and micro course program here at Clarke, which I'm happy to jump into at the end if there's some specific questions about that. I like to say that here at Clarke, we are a small school with big school opportunities. And I know, as cheesy as it is, here at Clarke, you really are a person and not just a number, which I think is so important, especially in online programs, right? It can get a little bit lonely, and especially if you've taken some time off of school and you're just jumping back in, having that extra layer of support could be a make it or break it thing for being successful. So, and that's where I come into play. So here as an enrollment coach at Clarke, I am with the student from the very beginning, right? Like I mentioned before, with the application, helping you complete your transcripts, helping with financial aid. I spend a lot of time talking about FAFSA. I also help with some of the PLA work, forming your academic plan, getting you registered for class, all the way till the end, right? All the way until graduation, checking in with you, making sure that you have all of the support you need to be successful. It also means that you're able to form relationships with your professors. Getting that one-on-one experience, learning from them, and also connecting with your peers in class. At this point, it's probably important to you to be growing your professional network, right? And expanding and growing from other people. And being in a program like this where you're able to connect with your peers could be such a valuable resource in that regard. While at the same time of being able to connect with the faculty and the students, here at Clarke, we provide amazing online resources for our students to help set them up to succeed. So some examples of that would be our online library database that you can use to search academic journals or articles when you're writing the essays that you will be in class, or maybe it's the essay itself that you need help with. If you're anything like me, some extra support is always needed. And here at Clarke, with the Margaret Mann Academic Resource Center, you're able to actually get free online help, whether that's thinking of new learning skills or honing in on your writing techniques, or having an extra pair of eyes look at that essay before you submit it. All of that is available to our students here with this program. And I think Derek is going to talk through some next steps.
All right. So yes, thank you everyone again for staying through the recorded portion of that. Jessica, like I mentioned, please don't drop. Jessica is with us live, and she does want to answer questions. I've actually had some that have been rolling in, and I've had some that have been rolling in since we have had Jessica had the conversation. And let me actually, sorry, having some technical difficulties here trying to. There we are. Apologies for that, but she is here. She is here live. And we do want to go ahead and get your questions answered. So let's, before we jump in there though, just want a quick reminder, the next start dates that are coming up are July 5th and August 27th. That may, or 22nd, that may seem kind of far off and you've got plenty of time, but it's kind of crazy how those dates sneak up on you, and before you know it, it's here. And so we wanted to mention both of those dates. If you want to get an early start and start, in the summertime, a lot of students do that. That way they kind of avoid the fall rush. That being said, if August is the only time that kind of works for you and you have a busy summer, that works as well. You can join us at August 22nd. But again, if you have any questions at all, just please contact Jessica at that phone number there. And with that, I will go ahead and start asking some of these questions. Again, if you have a question of your own, put it in the Q&A there and we'll get it answered. But Jessica, let me go ahead and kick it off with one of the questions here. It's about timing. It's kind of how long does each course take, and how many courses can you take at one time in this degree program?
Yeah. So this degree program, each class runs on an 8-week session. So the classes are only 8 weeks long, which is half of that traditional 16-week semester. And then students have the option to take 1 or 2 classes at a time, depending on if they want to be full or part-time.
Great, that's good that it has options like that. And I think this is a common question that comes up with this degree, because it's kind of one of those degree it can really be for whatever you want it to be, but however, some people think that it might be more business leaning, and that's what this question has to do. Is this program just for people who have or want a career in business?
Yeah, fair question. I get that question a lot. And no, this program is not just if you want to be in the business industry. This program is really for anyone that is looking to get back to school or to jump back in and finish their bachelor's degree in a program that is really built on support and flexibility. So the Bachelor's of Applied Studies, like I mentioned before, is a general degree program, meaning that students upon graduation are not necessarily pigeonholed into one specific area like you would be with a major. And it also means that there's less requirements in order to get to graduation and just general flexibility inside of the program. So no, you're not graduating with a business degree. It's a lot more flexibility in general classes than that.
Great. And that kind of goes along with the pathways that you spoke about earlier. So if you do kind of tell us a little bit more about that. If you do have an interest in a specific pathway, you can select those courses that align to it. Is that correct?
Yeah, so that's essentially what the pathways are. Like I said, pathways are just really a way to structure your time inside the program because it is a general studies type of program. You don't just get to take underwater basket weaving for 2 years and then graduate with a bachelor's degree. They are really not meant, these pathways are not meant to be rigid like a major. They're really just to provide an opportunity to spend a little bit extra time in a specific subject area, right? We like for students to choose these pathways early on, especially when we're creating that academic plan together. But due again to the nature of being a general degree program, you're not married to it. You can change your mind and switch pathways while you're still working on your degree.
And I think a big thing that's really attractive about this degree is the PLA that you were talking about earlier, the prior learning assessment. Because a lot of students we see coming into the degree program, they have been working a long time and they do have a lot of experience. So how there's a question about kind of like how that works and what's needed to start the process, I guess.
Yeah, so the prior learning assessment really is probably what I spend the most time talking about with my students that are currently in the program. And again, it really is just a process here at Clarke that gives students the opportunity to kind of honor some of their work experience and convert it into class credit. And this process can really look different for each student. So you do start this process in the first class that you take with us. But again, kind of the avenues that you get to converting that credit kind of looks different depending on your experience. So for example, some certifications will transfer over really easy to Clarke, such as if you have any military experience, like boot camp actually transfers over as class credit, which is really awesome. Or any Google certifications typically come over really seamlessly, almost like a transfer evaluation. Your credits just transfer over. While some experience will require a little bit more work to kind of quantify it. And so this could look like building a portfolio and working with a faculty advisor, kind of like I talked about during the presentation, to kind of, again, quantify that experience, make it cohesive and really count towards a class. And what I think the biggest takeaway right now, because this could kind of feel a little abstract, is that students do not walk through this process alone. It is on the responsibility of the students to prove that they have the knowledge to count for the class. But myself and the other Career Plus team members really walk you through the steps the whole time. So you're not doing it by yourself. And again, in that first class, you will have a great introduction to what PLA is, and you'll take like a short quiz on if this is the right thing for you. Does that answer the question?
I think it does. I think that's pretty good. And kind of going along with saving time and money, I guess, is financial aid. That can be really overwhelming. And some people, there's concerns out there about like how COVID-19 may have affected eligibility for financial aid. Is there anything you can share around that?
Yeah, and I'm glad someone asked this question because of the start dates. So having a summer start date and then a fall start date, you'll actually complete 2 different FAFSAs. So I first want to say, absolutely, you can get financial aid for this degree. COVID has not impacted it, so you can still qualify for aid, but keep in mind that how much aid you're awarded is contingent on if you are full and part-time. So that full-time status being taking 2 classes, the part-time status taking 1 class. And if you are interested in starting in July, which is our start date coming up here shortly, you will fill out the 2021-2022 FAFSA. And if you're interested in started in the fall, you'll actually fill out the 2022-2023 FAFSA. I get those mixed up all of the time. So if you're filling it out and you're wondering if it's the right one, just shoot me a message or a quick email. I'm usually quick to reply. It's also on the Clarke's website. But just keep that in mind as you're getting ready to apply for aid and for school coming up.
Okay, I think actually that is the majority of the question. I think kind of the overarching, I mean, you've worked with Clarke, you know Clarke, and you mentioned it before in the presentation. These students, they have a lot of choices. They could go to any school. They could do, you know, they could seek their education anywhere. So
Yeah.
so why Clarke? Why should a student come to Clarke for this degree?
Right? Isn't that the question? There's so many online bachelor's degree programs. I'm biased. So obviously I love our program, but I do think that our program is built specifically to create an easy transition back to school, and sets up a rhythm, for example, right at the beginning, that follows all the way through the whole program to make it more accommodating for our students. So assignments and discussion posts are always due on the same days of the week through the whole program. So that's just an example of how we are trying to really set up our program to make working people be successful in an online learning environment. I also work really closely with students to adjust their academic schedules depending on what they need and what season that they're in. So maybe taking less credit hours, taking an easier class, or maybe you're chomping at the bit, ready for more. There's options to speed that up. I think that's another great example of how this program is different, is we have some really cool alternative ways to save time and money on school, whether that be through PLA or the badges and all of that cool stuff. And we really do just focus on making sure students understand that they're not alone and that they're supported in this program. And kind of to wrap up on, I think an important note is it's completely free to apply. So it's no cost to you to just apply, and also no cost to you to request your transcripts and just see what your options are here at Clarke. So going through the admissions process and even getting an academic plan, sitting with me and figuring out what it would look like to graduate with from Clarke is completely free. Of course, you have to start paying once you show up to class, but figuring out what your opportunities are here at Clarke is free to you, and I think worth the time of investing in yourself and your future and figuring out what kind of cool options that you could have here at Clarke. So yeah.
That's wonderful. Jessica, I really appreciate you being here for the live Q&A. I think it's helpful. Hopefully we got everyone's questions answered. And hopefully you feel a little bit better about Clarke, about the Bachelor's of Applied Studies degree, and about your potential to be successful with it. I really think that this is something that if you've been putting off or that you've been wanting to do, but you're nervous to kind of take that next step, I think this is really the time to do it. And Jessica is here to help you through. And just a reminder once again, July 5th and August 22nd are our next start dates. And give Jessica a call, and we really hope that we can work with you and help you earn your bachelor's degree and find success. But thanks for attending, and we will see you later. Bye-bye. Thank you.